Welcome to the Unlocked Podcast, a podcast where we decode human performance one gene at a time. I'm Tony, and this series isn't just about science. It's about unlocking the hidden power you carry in your biology, so you can train smarter, live longer, and activate what most people think is fixed. We're going to talk about genes, healing, mental clarity, recovery, and even where science and soul start to meet. But we're starting with the foundation. Because most people don't know what DNA really is, or how much control they actually have. So let's build your foundation in a way you can actually use. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It's the molecule that stores your biological instructions inside almost every cell. DNA sits in the nucleus, which you can think of as a cell's control room, and it's packaged into chromosomes so it can be stored and copied accurately when the cells divide. DNA is written in 4 chemical letters, A, T, C, and G. The order of those letters is the message. Now, inside the DNA are genes. A gene is a specific stretch of DNA that contains instructions for building a protein. Proteins are the workers. They build tissue, regulate hormones, transmit signals, repair damage, and shape how your body performs. Here's the part that flips how you think about all of this. Having a gene does not mean it's active. Your DNA is more like a library than a single command. So the real question is not just what you have. The real question is what your body is choosing to read. And that brings us to gene expression. Gene expression is the process where a cell uses a gene to make something, usually a protein. The simplest way to understand it is in 2 steps. First is transcription. Transcription is when the cell makes an RNA copy of a gene. RNA stands for ribonucleic acid, and it's basically a working message copied from DNA. Second is translation. Translation is when the cell reads the RNA message and assembles a protein from it. That whole system is happening constantly, but it's not random. Your body has control systems that decide what genes get turned up, which get turned down, and which stay quiet. That control layer is where epigenetics comes in. Epigenetics is the science of how your environment influences gene activity without changing the DNA sequencing itself. Your code stays the same, but what gets used can change. Think of DNA like a piano. The keys do not change. Epigenetics is like the sheet music. It tells your body which keys get played more, which get played less, and what the overall pattern becomes. 2 mechanisms you'll hear a lot are DNA methylation and histone modification. Quick breakdown. DNA methylation is where small chemical tags called methyl groups attach to DNA. Often that makes a gene harder to read, so it lowers expression. Histones are proteins that DNA wraps around. When histones are modified, DNA can become more open or more tightly packed, which changes how easily genes can be read. So your training, your sleep, your stress level, your nutrition, and your daily environment are not just lifestyle choices. They're signals. They influence what your genes do next. Same genome, different inputs, different output. Now, once you understand that your biology responds to signals, it helps you know how we even discovered the code in the first place. Here's the quick timeline of how we got here, because this part matters, and this is my favorite history of science. I can't get enough of it. In the 1860s, I was about to say 18, but in the 1860s, Gregor Mendel studied pea plants and tracked how traits were inherited across generations. That work became the foundation of genetics, even though nobody could actually see the gene. Then in 1953, the double helix structure of DNA was described in Nature, and it was published on April 25th. That moment turned hereditary mystery into a molecule. We fast forward into April 2003, the Human Genome Project announced an essentially complete human genome sequence. It wasn't perfect, and later work filled in more gaps, but it was a huge leap forward for modern biology and medicine. And one of the biggest takeaways from all of this is that biology is not just about which genes you have. Regulation matters, timing matters, and the context especially matters. That's why even identical twins can diverge over time. Same DNA sequence and different life signals, so we have different expression patterns. So now you know what DNA is, and you know why gene expression changes everything. Here's where this podcast is headed and why I'm starting where I'm starting. This show is not meant to be random science facts. It's a pathway you can apply to real life. I'm starting with 3 genes because they map to 3 core pillars of performance that people actually feel. ACTN3 is linked to a protein called alpha-actinin 3, which is found mainly in fast-twitch muscle fibers. Fast-twitch muscle fibers are the ones you recruit for speed, power, and explosive effort. BDNF stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's tied to neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to adapt, learn, and rewire. It also connects to recovery and resilience. And finally, we have COMT. That stands for catechol-O-methyltransferase. It's an enzyme that helps break down catecholamines. I'm pretty sure I butchered that, so please guys, correct me if you know the right way to say it. That includes dopamine, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. Those chemicals play a big role in focus, stress response, stimulation, and how quickly you return to baseline. Those three give us a foundation: power output, brain adaptation, and stress chemistry. Later on in the podcast, we then expand into recovery pathways, inflammation, methylation, gut biology, regeneration science, and eventually the frontier where genetics meets technology. Because this is where the Unlock podcast is going to be bigger than fitness. The long arc is performance genetics, healing, and the future of human potential, including how biology and tech may eventually work together. So guys, that's episode 1. DNA is the code, right? Gene expression is how that code gets used. Epigenetics is how your life influences what gets expressed. Once you understand that, you stop treating your body like a mystery and start treating it like a system that we can improve. So next episode, we go into BDNF, what BDNF is and why BDNF matters, and how to support brain recovery and adaptation in real life. Guys, I want to end on this note. Remember, your biology listens. So let's live like it. Thank you for listening.